So all you need today for this painting that we're going to do is your primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, and some green and brown and some white, and you can put some black on there too if you want. These have really nice bristles and they're great for your trees and your bushes, and this is going to be used for your background, okay? And then we have a flat synthetic brush, chiseled edge, and I have a flat a Filbert brush, which is chiseled edge and synthetic, and I also have a liner brush. Now I printed out the reference photo, okay, so that's the reference photo I printed out in black and white just so I can place the eagle. And my canvas is not much bigger than the reference photo, which is 8.5 by 11, and the canvas is 9 by 12. So you can either print out the eagle itself to the size that you want it, or you can just use the reference photo printed out, and it kind of fits really nice. So I think that's perfect there, and it doesn't come, it comes down there. You can lift up a little bit higher if you want, just so it won't go down into the ground. And make sure it's right in the middle of this here, and it's not on top of the mountains or somewhere that you're not going to be able to see the eagle. That's why we got all that brightness. So you're going to tape that on and then put some carbon paper underneath and print and sketch out the eagle. Okay, so now we have our reference photo taped onto our painting. Now make sure it's really dry because you won't be able to transfer the... And I just took my eagle and I used carbon paper. And some people don't like to use carbon paper, but you can use chalk, putting chalk on the back of that and transferring. But transfer whatever way you think you can. I don't mind using carbon paper, so I'll just paint over those lines, and they will disappear. They do for me. And as long as your paint is opaque, you can put a couple of coats on, but I've never had any trouble. So I just put my carbon paper underneath here, and then I took a pen and I drew out the outline of my eagle, and now I have it on there, as simple as pie. So we'll take that off. Let's take that off. Alright, so there it is. So let's get started. I'm going to fillet the body and the wings in with burnt umber. That'll be the easiest way around this. You have to separate those wings there. So you're going to need a small chiseled edge flat brush. Lay your canvas down flat, because doing it this way is a little difficult. I just had mine up on the easel, but I'm finding it hard to get those lines there, so make sure that you lay it down flat. I think you'll find it much easier. I'm going to skip over that line there so I don't lose where my line is. Get through here first. But I don't want to... See, I just lost it. blacking in that we did. So we'll black in now the head and the tail. So we're going to go with some white, very small brush, a very small flat or a round brush. Something round should work, like that. So I'll wet it, and then it'll come out like that. And try that. Like I said, always experiment with your painting. So because we want the head to be nice and white, and there's a shadow underneath here, and you got the orange beak, so we got to be very careful. It's a very small area, and we want to get it really nice. So I'm going to go with the white, just so I have that nice bright white. Now that might be a little, you might need a few coats because we're going over the yellow, and the yellow won't let it go as bright as we like it, but there it is. It's not too bad. Alright, so, and then we will do the shadow, which we will add a little tiny bit of blue to blue it up a little bit for that shadow. And we don't want too much blue, we don't want it to be totally blue, but it is nice and dark. So I get a nice blue. Let's try this one here. Where are you? There you are. Okay, there we go. So try that. Okay, probably go a little darker. Maybe just your pure blue. You always have to experiment. It seems to be a bit better. Get a little bit of that shadow underneath that beak. Alright, and we have some blue shadow over here. We might as well do that while we have the blue on our brush, and a bit of blue over here. That comes out round. And we will, it looks like there's some burnt sienna into that feathery stuff. But there. Before we do that, why don't we do the little feet? Because if you don't, the little claws, because if you don't, you might lose them, and then you might lose the shape. So let's just put some orange in the feet. So let's see, there's one there, and there's one there. So now we can work around that, see? And while we have the orange on our brush, we will do the beak. I'm going to put a little bit of a darker color there than what it's calling for, because then I can lighten it up. So the beak. Okay, and we'll put some light on that after. And that beak looks like a duck. That's a bit better. I'll put a little bit of an edge on it there. That kind of makes it a bit better. And we will put some burnt umber on your toothpick, because it's the smallest thing you're going to get to put on that eye. And just dab that in there. There we go. So now we can put our colors on here. I'm just going to take some white. Look at the reference photo, you'll see there's a bit of white here. Okay, there's a bit of white. And when that dries, I'll give it another coat, because make sure your brown is dry or you're going to end up with your white. Now you might need some of the brown to go in, because it seems like there's some brown in. Now don't lose those lines if possible, okay? So just add a little bit of burnt sienna to your white. Okay, and then try your best not to lose those lines, if possible. These little areas are tricky, right? They're tricky. I'm just going a little bit whiter than what it shows so I can see my lines. All right, a little tricky, but we're getting it. We're getting there. I don't know what that blue is for. I don't really like that. I think it's too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change. I'm going to darken it up, and I'm going to shorten this. I think I made that too long. See? So you can always fix things. So in order to fix that there, I'm going to have to go back to my yellow sky. A little bit of yellow and white. And I'm going to, it's got a little bit of green in it, so maybe a little bit of blue. And I'm going to take that out. Shape it up better. Putting some white on my brush to make sure it's nice and bright around there. Just try to get the shape best way you can. Keep that light around here. I'm going to paint over that wing again. I think it's dry. Once it dries, do your second coat for the burnt umber. Or dark brown, okay? We got brown, add a bit of black to it, and that'll darken it up nicely for you. I'm just going to do the big wings, not going to do the little ones yet. See? And you can take that little liner brush or that little round brush and go into your burnt umber and get these straightened up. They seem to come up and over a little bit. Some water. So as you can see, I took the brush and I just touched on the edge and pulled back in, okay, to get those nice little feathers there, to make them look better. And just take a long liner brush or a liner brush and pull these out, maybe even thinner than what I have there, okay. And so I'm just going to darken this little bit here. All I do, let me see, let's just take a small flat brush. You can use your round one that you just used, or as long as it's nice and small so you can get in here and you got those little dark lines in there. So I'm going to take a bit of burnt umber first. And I'm going to put in those dark lines with a bit of paint. Okay, and make sure your brush is not too wet. So we get those lines in there. Separating the wings. And now is I'm going to take some white, and while that is still wet, I'm going to go in with the white next to it, and that'll pick up some of that burnt umber, and it'll bring that shadow right into the tail. If it dried up on you, then just add a tiny bit of burnt sienna or something to shade up that white so that it's not completely white. That's just what I'm going by the reference photo. Okay, so I need more white. And I'm going to put a little more white there. And same deal, just put your brush, touch your brush and pull back in, and that way you'll get a couple of little those feathery look, or you can just pull it back into, get a little feathery look there, right? See? Just pull it back in a little bit, see? See that? Just want to see, pull it back in and it comes in like little feathers. There we go. There we go. There we go. Not like too much shadow down there. Kind of too much, I think. There we go. It's a bit better. And a little bit on the head. This is white paint, just white. Good. Good. That was a happy accident. Very lucky to get that. Alright, let's do our final details. Alright, final details. I'm thinking maybe a little bit more rock over here. What do you think? What do you think? Let's try adding a dark, maybe black, burnt umber. Putting some little rocks up here just to give it more contrast. Alright, just, you know, I'm getting my ideas from the reference photo, okay? But I'm not doing exactly the same as the reference photo. So you'll see when I'm doing the reference photo that I'm not doing exactly what it's in it, but I'm using the ideas that they have there. So, taking some of my orangey paint, let it dry. Mine's not dry yet, but you let yours dry and then put your highlight on the edge and on the top. Okay? I'll come back to that now when it dries. I just want to show you. Alright. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I will start working on other. So now this part is now your final details. Always leave your final and small details to last. Right? Because you might get into your painting, say, doesn't look finished. It won't look finished until you get all your final details. Let's look at one part at a time. That might help you. I'm going to look at the sky, and I'm thinking it might be nice to have a little more contrast in the sky over here. So I'm going to go with a little blue, a bit of burnt umber. And I won't use any white. I'll leave that dark like that. A little more blue. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So you have to play with it until you find what you're looking for. So I'm going to put that cloud on there like that. And a little bit down here, just to get a little more contrast. That's all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fluffy brush. Now you'll more than likely not want to wash it every time you use your fluffy brush throughout the whole thing. So we put it in your water, and when you take it out and it's soaking wet, just wipe it off in your tissue like this, and it'll come back to normal. Okay, just be a little bit damp, but it won't be soaking wet. So I'm just going to go around that, soften up those clouds. Makes them nice and soft. Good. That's good. That is very good. Alright. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow on my flat brush, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a highlight because that's close to the light. So I'm going to take a cloud, and I'm just going to take a little bit of light and add that to the edge there. And then I'm going to fluff it. So let's fluff it. Oh yeah, nice, nice, nice. Really nice. This is great. So use your happy brush. And you know what kind of brush this is, right? I'm after mentioning it several times online. It's a makeup brush is all it is, right? And it's a very good brush for making very soft backgrounds, very soft clouds, and different things that you want to do. Blending. Beautiful. All right. Just a couple of little highlights on the edge here. A little bit of yellow, just to find a few little edges here. Nice, just a little tiny bit. This is your final details, so you don't have to change anything. You don't have to do anything. Just add your highlights, add more highlights. If there's a small adjustment to do, go ahead. But don't do anything drastic, because you will be sorry. You'll have to start all over. See that? Just a little tiny bit. Nothing drastic. Don't make any changes. Everything's all done now. All you got to do is... Okay, see? Nice little highlights on there. That's nice, isn't it? What else can we do? Let's see. Water is fine. Maybe a little bit of light in the water. A little more light in the water. Let's just add a bit of white to your brush. And just a little bit there. See, you don't need much. Just scrub it on. Scrub it on. Look at that. It came out by itself. Nice. I like that. I like it just where it is. I might fluff it a little bit. When you're fluffing, that's my new word. When you're fluffing, don't push too hard. Okay? Fluffy. Good. Now all we need are, let's see, a few more highlights, a little bit highlights here. So think highlights. Think about highlights for your last details. Very important. Highlights is what makes a contrast and makes your painting. So think highlights. The very last details would be your highlights, your shadows, any little tiny adjustments that you need. Nothing too drastic, because you will be very sorry if you go too far with it and you'll end up ruining your whole painting. So you got to be very careful. Okay, just little tiny adjustments. You got a little bit of a rock over here. Kind of got the light coming from there. Light, so you want a bit of a light there. Just throw a little bit, a couple little, right, just like that. Don't need too much. Maybe a little more highlight on here. Not going to do anything drastic. I might add a little bit of white to that yellow that I got there, yellow and burnt sienna. Just want to show that there's light. I'm just tapping a little bit, just try to get that. It's kind of in shadow, that one, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. And we got a couple little highlights over here on top of that rock. Maybe on top of that rock. Maybe there's a couple little ones here. Just use the corner of your brush. That will help you keep control. A little more highlight over here. A bit of white with your yellow and burnt sienna. Just a little dabble of light here. On the edge. On the edge. See how nice that is? Look how bright. And now we're going to wipe off our brush completely, just in your tissue, and just drag that down a bit, just so it will blend a bit more. Alright. Nice. I can't wait to see your paintings. You guys are sending me your paintings. I love looking at them. Let's go with some burnt sienna and the yellow again with a little bit of white. And just gently, you don't need very much, a few little, I'm just tapping on the corner of my brush some little highlights that I think might look nice. Okay, and you can put them wherever you want them. Just tapping on the corner of my brush, that's all. Alright, so I think we're finished with that down there. I don't think we need much more down there. Now we'll work on the eagle and then we're done. See that nice brightness in the corner? See the brightness when you add those brights? The difference it makes? So pretty. It makes your painting so pretty. I mean, the darks against the lights are amazing. So with this here, I'm going to take my burnt sienna and yellow, and I'm going to wipe it off. And I'm going to wipe it off my tissue so there's hardly any left on there. And I'm going to kind of dry brush some highlights on it. Maybe I'll just pull down, you know, whatever way you find it. This way is good too, because then you can go into the wings a little bit. So leave the edge just sort of in the center, more in the center than, and keep the edges dark, alright? So won't bother with that, make that nice and dark. So this is dry brushing, you hardly have any paint on your brush. And there's plenty there, see? You wiped it all off, but yet there's still plenty there. And if it was too bright, just go in and get some of your burnt sienna and wipe it off, and then go back in, or burnt umber, and go back in. Wipe it off, make sure there's hardly anything on your brush at all. But there will be enough left over. Like I said, if you get too much, you don't like it, just go in with your burnt umber and wipe it off first, and then go back in. Alright. So that brings it out a bit more, see? And the only thing we need now is a couple little highlights on the feet and the beak, and we're done. At least I am. You can certainly continue on. But like I warn you, be very, very careful about your last details. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow, and the feet are here, so I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow on top of that orange that I did. A little bit here. A little bit on top of the beak. This is the hard part, because you can actually change the shape of the beak just by putting too much on. Alright, so I'm going to go a little bit of white on my yellow. Let's see if that helps. Good, that's good enough. That's good enough for me. That is good enough for me. So look at that. Now that is really pretty, isn't it? That is really pretty, and it wasn't hard. So I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a lot. And I really like it, actually. And just think now, we did this video for contrast, to see how contrast works. Darks against lights, and it really makes your painting look so beautiful. So that's it for me for today. I will be doing lots more videos coming up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye from Allison Pryor. Have a great day. Well, thank you for painting along with me. I hope you enjoyed that painting. And if you did enjoy that painting, leave a comment below in the comment section. Let me know what you liked about that painting. What part of that painting did you like? What was your favorite part? And if you have any questions about brushes or paints or anything about the painting itself, just email me at allisonpryor@yahoo.com or leave a comment down below. And I will see you in the next video.